Nigerian businessmen and women. Share the most kept business secrets, how they started, their struggles, and how they succeeded. This is the compendium of the movers and shakers in the Nigerian business community. This is Ntrepreneur.
Our guest today is regarded as a tech titan for his immense contribution to the growth of information technology in Nigeria. He's an erudite scholar, a strategist, a bridge crosser, and a trailblazer. In 2015, he was named as one of the 21 CEOs who are changing the face of information technology in Nigeria. And in 2017, he bagged the prestigious Lagos State Man of the Year award. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Dr. Adebola Akindele, Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Courteville Business Solutions PLC.
Dr. Bola Akindele is a big fish in Nigeria's business sector. Over the past 3 decades, he has built an impeccable career working across some of the world's leading financial houses, including KPMG and the Central Bank of Nigeria, and successfully runs his own business, Courteville Business Solutions PLC, a leading e-business solutions company located in Lagos, Nigeria. He was born on November 25, 1964 in the city of Ibadan, Oyo State, but grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. Bola Akindele attended Ansarudeen College, Isolo, Lagos for his secondary education and Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in agriculture. He holds a master's degree in banking and finance from the prestigious University of Lagos and also a doctorate of business administration from the International School of Management, Paris. In 2017, Dr. Bola Akindele was voted Lagos State Man of the Year for his immense contributions to the socio-economic development of West Africa's economic hub. He was also honored with an honorary fellowship from Ravensbourne College, UK, and was also named as one of the top 25 CEOs in Nigeria in 2015. Dr. Ismail Bola Akindele is best described as a strategist par excellence and an astute entrepreneur.
Courteville started as an investment advisory firm, actually, in 2005, January. And it was registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a business advisory to cater, to likely, address local large corporates. So that's what we did for the first couple of years, the first 3 years of our presence in the economy. And in 2007, we decided to diversify model, or to change our strategy in terms of addressing what we felt was the gap, some of the gaps in the system. And we knew that in terms of what we were doing then, we were competing with the very large companies like KPMG, PwC, Deloitte and others. And we were not struggling, but we could actually be a lot more effective in what we were doing in terms of our market size and where we were playing. We decided to branch out into some other form of doing this, achieving the same results. So we decided to go what we call mass market orientation, addressing a larger body of customer base. Usually listed after coming up with solutions and services with ICT, ICT platforms that allowed individuals, different sectors, or a particular sector of the economy address a particular perennial challenge in getting to do what they needed to do on a yearly basis. So 2008 we went public through a private placement exercise in 2008, where we went to the market, and then from shareholder numbers of about 5, we went to about 1,200 immediately. And by 2009, we listed on Nigerian Stock Exchange. As it is now, we have about 2,500 shareholders. We've been on the stock exchange since 2009. We've been a public sector, a public company since 2008. And we've grown from that one unit, office, the small building in Ikoyi into what we are now, from a staff level of about 10 to what we consider as many as 200 now, directly in employment. And indirectly, we also, will have engaged at some point in time over 5,000 indirect employees. We do our work in the spaces of the public sector, the private sector, industry, individual, in different parts of the economy, across, the borders of Nigeria, across West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, and we are even in the Caribbean and Jamaica. Just, in a nutshell, combine, what the essence of what we do as a company. Courteville sets out all the time to, serve or to try to meet the needs of all our stakeholders by coming up with services to address every single person in this space of stakeholding at any point in time. We want to make sure that we do that by coming up with the best kind of products and services that will address these needs, and then make them as efficient and as effective as possible in terms of service delivery from the providers, as us, to the end users. That's essentially the combined, way of explaining the vision and mission statement of Courteville. We are stakeholder focused. We try as much as possible all the time to meet the needs of our stakeholders, no matter how divergent these needs are. And we've done this for quite a while. We keep reviewing our strategy, short term, medium term, and long term. So we keep rolling over this medium term strategy every 5 years for 10 years as a stretch. So for a longer strategy of 10 years as a stretch. So that is what we do as a company. We have a few that are basically, considered landmarks, not just by ourselves, but by, our clients and by the users. The first one we did when we decided to go more mass markets is the Auto-Reg franchise. Auto-Reg franchise is quite popular across Nigeria and outside Nigeria because it deals with motor vehicle documentation registration, yes. And this comprises insurance, vehicle licensing, commercial paper for commercial vehicles, and all sorts of document that allows you, driver's license, that allows you to be able to drive or ride on the road with the authority of the government of each state. In that regard, we have covered as many as 26 states in Nigeria so far. And we are also, present in, like I said earlier, Sierra Leone, in Liberia now, about to start Liberia now, Zimbabwe as well. And we've done quite a bit around the rest of the world as well, because we're in Jamaica. All our products and services are locally designed, locally developed, and locally executed, because we believe that the challenges and the gaps created by these challenges in Nigeria and processes are largely peculiar to Nigeria. And because they are peculiar to Nigeria, it would take being a Nigerian and living in Nigeria to understand them fully. And that is why you'll be able to include these resolutions towards these gaps in building the applications and the solutions. That's why all our services are the first of their types in the world. And we've been able to prove that with Auto-Reg licensing franchise. We're able to prove that with what we call our NAPAM service, that eventually went on to win the best ICT product for the Commonwealth, as determined by the Commonwealth ministers across the world 2 years ago, to help NAFDAC service their clients, reducing service time from months and sometimes years to less than 3 weeks at a stretch. The same thing that Auto-Reg has done is what we've done in the area of insurance with our service of NID to the insurance industry, among others. So we play, like I said, in the field public sector and private sector, just to ensure that when you set out as a stakeholder on a daily basis, when you set out to do what you do normally on a daily basis, you are able to get to do this in the most efficient, the most effective, and the least expensive way. Before going to the stock market or the private placement system to raise funds for expansion, I had personally taken up the promotion of Courteville in 2004 and 2005 beginning by employing all my savings at that time from my past work employment in the banking industry, along with a few other returns from investment at that time, different investment at that time, to run the company for about 3 years ahead of going public. We went public because at that point we knew we needed to expand. In 2007, we started the auto ride business in Lagos State. They were kind enough to have been the first to give us a chance to do this, to put ourselves to them. And then by later 2007 and early 2008, we started Anambra State. We knew we needed to expand and we needed funding to do that. We were lucky, God was kind. It was towards the tail end of the so-called economic boom of those, just ahead of the economic crisis, 2007, 2008. We were lucky not to have tapped into the economy of Nigeria then at a time when it was tapering out. The ability and the size of the market in terms of funding small businesses was just gradually totally going off. And we were able to raise about 1.53 billion. We wanted to raise 1 billion, but in 1 week, for over 1 month, but in 1 week we were able to raise, in 5 days actually, we raised 1.53 billion. So we started at that. And that allowed us grow very quickly, not only across Nigeria, but even it was part of how we started our journey into the Caribbean and most of West Africa and East Africa as it were. So raising funds is always going to be a challenge depending on how you set out to do what you need to do. It will not be the solution. Going to the stock market will not be the solution for everybody. There are different models to go. There are different sources. You can go with debt, even though as in bank borrowing. That may not be so convenient for the bank or for yourself. You could also work with the private equity firms. That may not be as cheap as you'd want it, depending on your motive in the first instance. The stock market, the stock exchange is a place where you could easily raise, where you should be able to raise funds if you have a compelling service to provide the people and the market is ripe for it. But most importantly, you employ your savings. And where you know that you do not have any, you'll be ready to share the ownership of whatever idea or company that you are interested in promoting. Otherwise, they say ideas are just ideas until they leave the table and become executed ideas. So ideation is not enough to say, okay, I should own everything. Part of being an entrepreneur is being able to determine what form of capital you need, how you are going to raise it, if you have it. If you don't, how to go and get it. First of all, my belief is that you couldn't achieve anything without the grace and the blessings of God, of the Almighty God. And the rest of it is what you just do to follow what is available, what is made available to you. I wouldn't say that there is a particular magic to steering any ship in any way. But we've been very lucky with how we raise our funds. We've only needed to go back to borrowing only once in the whole of, at least in terms of a major expansion plan, to borrow only once since the 2008 fundraising effort. And that has kind of stabilized our system somewhat. We've not needed to work with banks as such in terms of having to go borrowing. And when we did, it wasn't difficult because we had the size at that time to showcase what we could also offer. But beyond that, the economy itself will always continue to be one that it takes the smarts, it takes the doggedness, it takes the social network, it takes the business network, it takes your professionalism, it takes your willingness to continue to evolve, for you to continue to survive. And what I tell people is that in a country of almost 200 million, they say, if you want to be an entrepreneur, there has to be a way of you identifying some space or some level where you can provide service. You can't follow the crowd all the time. If you want to be different, bring something on that has not been offered before. Or even if it's been offered, bring something on that will offer it in a totally different way, more efficient and more effective. And if you really are serious about being one entrepreneur, then you have to be able to determine that, look, I can play in this space. I have something to offer. Because entrepreneurship, in my own definition, is being able to create some value. Some value that someone, somewhere, third party, other than yourself, will be willing and able to pay for. So what, as an entrepreneur, what are you offering? Who are you offering it to? Will they be able to afford what you're offering? Because there's no point to it if none of these questions can be fully addressed before you even set out.
I tell you that on our 10th year anniversary this year, we are glad to come back to you to tell you what we have done on your behalf.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the organizers, we present this important award, Lagos State Man of the Year Award 2017, conferred on Dr. Adebola Akindele, SCA, Founder and Group Managing Director, Courteville Business Solutions PLC.
Is Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. In the second part of this interview, Dr. Akindele shares his thoughts on the development of ICT in Nigeria and the importance of mentorship for budding entrepreneurs. He also speaks about his high taste for excellence, which is a guiding principle in the company.
Courteville, as a company that has always followed the best practices, we compare ourselves with the best standards, not only locally, but more internationally. And that's why the Great Place to Work as an institution, a rating agency, international rating agency, has for 2 consecutive sessions rated us, in the first year, they rated us second best place to work in Nigeria. And we won several other awards along those lines. By this year, we were across Africa, across the whole of Africa, best place to work for medium and small size companies across the whole of Africa. And we are not in the same, competition with small, companies. We had the biggest, multinationals across Africa, including Nigeria here. The biggest multinational, the biggest service companies, biggest professional companies, and they were all in the whole mix. We won that. We won the best. Just this year, we won for a great place to work, and then the best place for training and development. We won 4 awards this year. We won 3 2 years ago. And those are the 2 times that they've ever held in Nigeria. If we come up with something, they become world standard. And in order to ensure that we are all standard, if you look around, you see all sorts of, quality objectives, quality, policies. We have our ISO certification every other year. ISO, International Standard Organization certification from SUN. They come every 2 years to come and certify our operations and what we do. And we are giving top marks every time. And this is because we focus on our stakeholders. Beyond winning awards because of what we do. Our stakeholders also can attest to what we do around the community, with government, with our staff, with everything. As a stakeholder-focused company, you have to ensure that every single one of them goes away with the satisfaction of saying, this is the best I can get. Fintech industry is growing very, very fast, very faster than I had expected. And interestingly, it's my former MD in Fountain Trust, but my last bank, my last place of work in the banking, that is spearheading Mr. Dr. Shego, spearheading this fintech, evolution in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, across Africa as a whole. Imagine what has happened with the TSA scheme. Imagine what has happened with the pension, the new way of doing pension. Imagine what has happened with the BVN scheme. Imagine what has happened. Even let's come down to the INEC, system of card reader and biometric verification. Is the way to go. It keeps everybody regular. It keeps everybody recognizable. It keeps everybody, convenient. It keeps everybody maintain a cheaper lifestyle, but a lot more efficiently. And it's the only way Nigeria can go if we want to bridge that gap of industrial revolution that we've lacked as Africa all the while, to jump over that bridge of trying to catch up all the time, because we have the young men and women here. It's about their minds, and they do not need a lot of equipment except encouragement from entrepreneurs like us and from government to encourage them to come out with the best so that we can compete as a nation internationally. It's not at my level. I don't believe it's at my level. I'm a bit too old for it. And by his own set, and those above me, of course, the young men and women are the ones that will take us beyond, into the digital revolution, into the fintech age. We will not be left behind again. Well, I've not been fortunate enough to have been identified, as a potential mentee, or, for me to be able to have identified someone for mentorship. I would say that with the grace of God, I've stumbled through most of what I've done as a professional. I've learned along the way. I've had to, come up with my own way of understanding. And that has allowed me actually understand a lot about what I've done over the past 34 years or thereabouts. And I realized that because of that lack in my own growth as a professional, it's very, very critical and very important for me, or to me, to have this kind of relationship with younger ones, people behind me. We learn from each other. There's a lot I also pick up from them. But in sharing my experience, sharing my knowledge, it helps me in a way to also grow. Because when you add what they know and the way to understand how to do things to what you already have done, you can actually come up with ideas as to how you could have done things better, and that will help the people coming behind. I think mentorship is a critical part of learning, and I think I would recommend it very strongly, for anyone that is planning to be in this space for a long time, into the entrepreneurship space for a long time. I watch a lot of TV in my house, on my bed, and that takes, in terms of my relaxation, that takes about 60 to 70% of my time in terms of how I unwind, at least these days. I do quite a bit of reading. Interestingly, you may wish to know that the reading is not just about management, leadership, or academic books as it were. One has done quite a bit of that. So I do a lot of fiction as well, because I learn a lot about history of different economies, history of different peoples, history of different businesses, and it helps me also be able to put into perspective some of the things I have done and I know. I also watch a lot of documentaries, History Channel on DSTV and National Geographic to a large extent.
A great man once said, success is not always as easy as it seems, and failure is not always as ugly as it seems either. On today's episode of the show, we raise a glass to everyone out there who has ever succeeded, to everyone who has ever failed, and to everyone who is still out there struggling. Somewhere inside of you is the power to change the world. My name is Jeremiah Olatinwo. See you next week. Bye for now.
My name is Dr. Adebola Akindele. I'm the Group Managing Director of Courteville Business Solutions PLC. I will advise as an entrepreneur that you understand fully that both successes and failures are part of the journey in the business.